Hello everybody, welcome to Phancy Talk Show. And I know it's been a minute. This is our first episode this year and we are so excited to be back. So on this episode, we shall be focusing on the hidden pressure behind the customer service. You guys, you usually go to places where you get served. You go to a call center, you can go to a bank, and all these people are only smiling. But do you ever wonder the stress, the pressure behind that smile that never fades? So with me today is a guest, and I'm going to give her a minute to introduce herself, to tell us and introduce even the topic that you're going to do today. So welcome on board, Hannah.
Thank you so much, Phancy, for having me. I like what you said, the pressure behind the smile, because that's what I always talk about.
Yeah.
But just a quick introduction. As you said, my name is Hannah. I am a trainer, I am a speaker, and I am a coach. And my passion is people, especially customer-facing stuff. Yes, that's my passion, because I've been there.
Yeah.
So when you talk about the smile behind the pressure, oh, I've lived it. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the brief introduction. And as we kick off this topic, I know we may only think of, the white collar jobs, but even the mama mboga, you go to her and she's all smiling, regardless of the pressure she has encountered, the harassment from the kanjo and, all these things. So can you first tell us in brief, what are the pressures, having been there, behind the customer service staff?
Wow, I like that question. I think the pressure today comes from the fact that customers expect more. I'm pretty sure if we lived in the 60s, all they wanted was to come, buy their mboga and go home. But now, as we get more educated, as we travel, as we see what good customer service looks like, our expectations go up. And I like what you said about the mama mboga as well, because customer service, sometimes we think of customer service as, oh, Kempinski, that is customer service. But the customer service is with the mama mboga. The customer service is even from your mechanic, when you go to take the car to your mechanic. And even the customer service is also the mjengo guys, are they coming up on, are they there on time? Are they doing their job? So customer service is pretty much everywhere. Yeah, the way we're serving people, and most importantly, how we make them feel. Do they walk away feeling like, yes, Phancy is somebody that I want to come back to? Or is it like, what? I'm never going back. Yeah, that's what customer service is all about.
We will start by the staff themselves. Before we go to the customer is the king. In today's organization, or even in the society that we are living right now, we have so many pressures that are leading to, mental instability, if I call them that way. So you find, people are just showing up, maybe because they need to pay their bills, not because really they want to go and smile. I call them fake smiles, because sometimes, the weight, the burden are too much for them, and you have to smile anyway. That is what is expected of you. So what would you first of all tell, the people who are expected to smile regardless of what they are going through? How do you tell them to handle their mental issues and keep smiling even when the world is crumbling?
Yeah. I hear you. I always say nobody's coming to save you. So you really have to take care of yourself. You really have to take care of your mental health. And that's what I talk about a lot in my training, because you're telling someone you need to take care of your mental health, but how? It's like going to somebody and telling them, oh, you need to lose weight. How? Give me the tools. So a lot of times we need to step up. In organizations, we really need to give our staff the tools. And a lot of times, and I've heard this many times, oh, but customer service, everybody knows customer service. You still need to give them the tools to know how to cope with this, like unexpected situations where I'm talking about customers coming in and they expect more. They know what good service looks like. They know what to expect. So that puts a lot of pressure on them. So they do need the tools to know how to cope. And I'm happy that you talked about mental wellness. We've seen it everywhere. Mental awareness is on the rise. I'm not sure whether mental, like the issues we're seeing, I don't think they're new. It's just that now we're talking about them. And I'm so happy to see that we're now making it safe for people to talk about it, even in the workplace. Just to say, I don't think I'm coping very well. Because eventually, there's that analogy we give of a kettle boiling with the lid on. Eventually, that lid's going to fall off when the boiling point gets to a certain threshold. So it's the same way. People really need to talk about it and say when they're not well, and we need to give them the tools. We need to give them the how of how to cope with the pressures in the workplace.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about the Mama Mboga. And you know, she's showing up every morning, or the boda guy, or just these people in business.
Yes.
They're showing up every morning to make their ends meet, but they're just bad days. As much as the bills might make them remain motivated, what can you tell them? What can you tell them? Maybe tips on how to ensure they show up every day and they remain happy even when, the business itself is becoming a stress, maybe the people they are interacting with every day.
Yeah. Well, what we say in my stress management course is to say that everything has a silver lining. Even that bad day where you walked into your kibanda, you've been there the whole day, everything has a silver lining. So we talk about going into curiosity. Look at the end of the day. Look at the day not from self-pity. I made nothing. Don't look at it from self-pity. Go into curiosity. I didn't make anything today, but what did I learn? It's always that gratitude of something somewhere must have happened that I can be thankful for. Yeah. So look at it from a place of gratitude. I may not have made the money, but hey, did somebody pass by and we just made small talk? Everything Phancy has at that silver lining. That's what I talk about when I'm training people, just to get people to always look at things from a silver lining point of view. We say where focus goes is where your energy is going to go. Yeah. So if your focus is on that's where all your energy is going. Sure. But if you're always like, wow, what is it that I can be grateful for today? Oh, what did I learn today? Oh, you know what? I may not have made anything, but something somewhere was positive. Even maybe it's just that maybe I learned that my products are not selling. So look at it with excitement. Oh, okay, I just got this truckload of whatever it was, nobody bought. The lesson is that, hey, maybe I need to change. So clap for yourself every single day at the end of the day. And once you get used to looking at things from this perspective, you find that you're not always as stressed as you used to be. That's why sometimes you look into a kibanda and you notice some of them are always smiling. Yeah. If you talk to them, they do have an attitude of gratitude in spite of everything that's going on.
Sure.
Yeah.
What about the employed people? Let's talk people in customer experience. Let's talk about bankers, those people you find at the front line interacting with customers directly. We know that sometimes they get burnout and it's just too much for them. How can we tell the organization to support this kind of stuff?
Yeah, wow. I like that point of view you've just brought in. This is all about the culture of the organization. Because stress will be there. Yeah. And stress is not always a bad thing, by the way. It's not always a bad thing. There are things that we do when we're stressed and we do them better because there was that kick, So the employees need to feel supported right from the top. And it's not just supported, just policies, we support you, but then when actually something happens, you don't feel the support. It has to be human-centered. Everything has to be human-centered. And recognizing that, yes, it is a stressful environment. So one thing I always say is look back and start to preempt. There are always certain periods of the year where the stress levels are at another level. Certain periods of the year when stress, in fact, even sometimes you walk in and people are bored. They're like, hey, no customer is walking in. A good example is, let's say, around Christmas time, December. Yeah. If you're, let's say, working in a hotel, you can preempt this place, this certain period from starting from mid-November till maybe first week of January, we're going to be busy. Yeah. So what do we need to do? So this becomes a discussion on the table before we actually get there. People can say, hey, last year we were short of staff, so what can we do? Okay, let's organize no leaves around this time. So people are prepared. So if you wanted leave around this time, please hold your leave until another time. And you tell them why you're doing this. When you guys take off, what happens and the employees are, the other employees who are left working are stressed. Tomorrow it's going to be you. And when you work it out in a way that everybody is in it together, then they support each other. And then also make it fun. People, like your kids, when your kids were in nursery school, how did they learn? It was using fun. You know, they were taught using play, songs, tag. That's how they grow. So also have that, include that during those stressful times. I've seen a lot of companies doing that. That's when they'll have a Christmas party. They'll just have some gratitudes. We're giving gifts to their employees. I remember when we used to work, we used to have a whole table just full of free, food. There's something about food that brings people together. They'd have a whole table. So when you come in the morning, you just grab something and go into the office. Include all this. Make it fun. Make it a place where everybody's like, actually, I don't think I'm going to take leave, because those people in the office are having too much fun. So
I don't want to miss out.
Yes, exactly. So have that incentive. Then at least the workload is shared. Small tips like those. When it's part of the culture, you find that people are more willing to work for that organization. So please don't take out the whip. Nobody's going on leave. Lazima kazi mfanye. They come to the office with that, attitude deep down. And I can tell you, the customers who walk in can sense it. The customers can sense it,
Okay.
But when it's part of the culture, part of the organization, part of, we're all in this together. And if you're a manager, don't go on leave and tell your people not to take leave. Be the first one. Be the first one to lead and say, hey, you know what? I'm not taking leave during this time. Then at least people feel like we're all sacrificing. She's not off to Dubai, and the rest of us are here having to do her work and having no one to turn to when something has to be escalated. Small things like that really, really make a change in the organization.
Okay.
Yeah,
that has actually reminded me how organizations are, the customer service week. We are very much into, organizations never miss the customer service week.
Yeah.
But you see now, this is totally centered to the customer. So I think giving something to the workers, to the employees as well, it's something they feel appreciated.
Yeah. Customer service is also about the internal customer. So I like that. I like what you've said. When it's customer service week, it's not only about the external customer.
Yeah.
It's also about the internal customer. So use that time to show your appreciation to your internal customers as well.
Sure.
So please don't expect to show appreciation to the external customer when they don't feel appreciated. Yeah.
And now let's talk to the staff that are in the front line to deal with customers. In a scenario they encounter, not all days are good. Sometimes they'll have a bad day.
Yes.
Maybe somebody shouted, somebody abused them. There are some customers who are very insensitive, and they'll just throw insults without caring. What would you tell, or how would you encourage such an employee, just to know it's a bad day, not a bad life?
Yes.
And not to change their attitude in regards to what they're doing at the end of the day.
Yeah, great. Yeah, those difficult customers. Yes, we've all encountered them. And if in customer service you've encountered one, it's coming. One day you'll get that customer who's just difficult to please. Usually when you face a situation where you feel like you can't cope, there's something that is triggered. Even if you're smiling, there's something that is triggered. I'm what we call a positive intelligence coach. So we have those names for what is triggered. So first of all, call it out. If you say name it to tame it, don't be pretending you're okay and smiling. So if inside you're doing that internal dialogue and saying, you know what, this customer is making me feel, name it to tame it. And then that's when you start to shift. Again, go into curiosity. What could this person be going through? And when it comes to curiosity, we talk about curiosity in two ways. Curiosity for the person, if it's a customer. Very few people ever wake up and say, today I'm just going to be mad at Phancy. Maybe something had happened. Maybe they could be going through a divorce. Who knows? Sometimes it's something that they're going through. So start to look, first of all, go into that curiosity of, what can I learn? Empathy for this person. No matter how much you just want to punch them in the face, just look at them from a point of view of curiosity. What could have caused this person to be so nasty? And also for you, empathy for yourself. Just say, I'm feeling this way about this person. I hate this person. I don't want to look at them. Have that empathy for yourself as well. And when it comes to empathy, we always talk about looking at both of you as little children. Usually 6-year-olds and below, they'll walk up to any stranger and start to talk to them. So start to look at both of you guys like you are 2 6-year-olds who've met in the playground and are just making friends. So start to reframe this. start to reframe this situation. We say you're two bulls in the ring, and start to look at it from, we're two little children in the playground. When you start to reframe it, you even find yourself smiling and even changing your tone. And eventually, if you hold it, this customer is, angry, whatever. If you hold it and you have that calm demeanor, they start to calm down. I've had situations where customers have come to me and apologized and said, you know what, I'm really sorry. I came in, I was shouting, you don't deserve what I said. Or,
I was not kind.
That was not kind of me.
Yeah.
And I just want to apologize because you held it. And if you hold it, you actually, sometimes when somebody shouts, you want to shout to show who's got power. Oh, you're shouting at me, I'm going to shout back. Actually, when you hold it, when you calm your voice and you're nodding and you're looking at yourselves as two little children, being kind to each other on the playground, you actually hold the power. You actually hold the power, and he or she will come down to your level. I'm not saying that all customers do that. There's some people who are completely impossible. But I can tell you, Phancy, from 20 years in customer service, those people are only like 2%. And sometimes there's something maybe even medical going on. If somebody is constantly angry, they really need to talk to someone. Because that's not human nature. After a while, those hormones that are causing you to be so angry, they eventually get to a tipping point and then they calm down. It's like a child that's been screaming. Does that child scream 24 hours? No. They get to a point even it's... That's the same thing in the human body. So if this person's been screaming, it's not their fault, there's something going on and they probably need help. Yeah. But I can tell you, 98% of the people, it's just that they're going through something, and if you make that shift, they live in becoming, wapi yule msichana, nimewe Phancy, I wasn't very kind. Yeah. I actually saw this happen the other day in a restaurant, and this customer was just being so difficult, and I was really feeling sorry for the waitress. And in the end, when he wrote the check, he actually asked for her and apologized. I don't know what kind of stress he was going through. I think we talked about it the other day, that there's so much stress. Mara Iran, Mara elections, Mara sijui is Trump, Mara... There's just so much going on, and people are carrying so much, So, look at them from a point of empathy and kindness. And yourself as well, from a point of empathy and kindness.
I also think one of the reason why, the smile fades from the, customer... customers staff, the staff that serve the customer directly, is also what they are going through, and it could be sometimes not even work related. It could be something that happened at home. It could be somebody's going through a loss, but you have to show up at work. You could be going through a divorce, you still have to show up at work, and so they do not know how to contain themselves. I would like you to mention something on emotional intelligence. When it comes to, now this is general, not really for the customer service staff, but to everybody, on how, to handle yourself even when you're going through a difficult situation.
Wow, great. Emotional intelligence, all about self-awareness. You just need to be aware, this is what I'm going through, and this is what I'm carrying. From the time you leave home, we had that fight last night. This is what I'm taking with me to the workplace. I may not be able to cope. Again, back to the organizational culture. Do you have that culture where you can walk up to your manager and say, today, honestly, I don't know how I'm going to do this. You've tried everything. You've tried going to curiosity, you've tried going into empathy, and sometimes you just need that break. Have a manager that you can talk to. Have an HR personnel that you can talk to. A lot of organizations now will have maybe not a psychologist on staff, but at least somebody who's had some sort of training, so that they know that, this is not the time to say, what do you mean? Can you go back to your workplace? Somebody who will at least listen to you. And sometimes, Phancy, you just need that someone to listen. Sometimes you just need that someone to listen. So if the culture is very supportive, they're putting the right people in the right place. And if you really, really need to take a break, most organizations do have, even in their policies, something that says you can just take that break. It was not a planned leave, but I fancy just go home. Just go home and just decompress. Come back tomorrow when you feel much better. So I talk a lot about culture because it needs to come from the top. There's no end of me training customer-facing staff when the support is not coming from the top. It needs to come from the top.
Sure. And also now, let's now flip the coin to the management side. Policies are there. they talk good things, but really when it comes to implementing those things, it becomes a difficult, it becomes a challenge. I would like you to tell to talk to the managers and, the support that they need to give to this, to the customer experience, being through these emotional trails. Sometimes it's just a roller coaster. Someone is going through this, someone is going through this. Which support do we expect from the top management?
Wow. And if anybody listening to this podcast is in top management, I salute you. They're also going through a lot because they're also having to balance. There's this support they want to give to the staff, and they've also got a business to run. Can you imagine a day when all of you come to work and you all decide, hey, today us guys are not working, we all need time off. So also, as you have empathy, also have empathy for your managers as well. Because let's say it's a restaurant, they've got maybe 5 staff on that day. 4 of them have decided they don't want to come. They're all feeling a certain kind of way and they need a break. As a manager, you do want to give them a break, but is it really that possible?
No,
it's about sitting them down and, guys, let's talk. What can we do? Everything has a middle ground. Everything has a middle ground. What can you do to work this out? Okay, can you work for 2 hours and you for 2? Let's see what we can do. Because at the end of the day, there has to be some business continuity, So there's that delicate balance. And once you sit on the table and everyone is willing to listen to everyone and not kifuambele, no, this is what needs to be done. There's always that middle ground that you can get to,
I know all of us have been a customer at some point, or I would also want us to talk to our audience who may not be customer, who may not be at the forefront in serving customers, but they are a customer somewhere, Please tell them not to make it difficult also for the people they find. Because sometimes things may not go the way our customers want at times, because maybe we are, the person on this other side, who's the customer experience officer, is being guided by policies and their guidelines just on how to do the service. But unfortunately, the customer may not understand that. And sometimes they become very hard on this officer, not knowing they're also human beings. So let's talk to the person on the other side of the desk.
100%. I always say, for my work, it's easy for me to reach the customer staff, the front-facing staff. Because the organization will call me and tell me, hey, we have 20 people, come and train them. But then again, they cannot call me and tell me we have 300 customers, come and train them. Absolutely. That's just not possible. But I don't know if you've noticed, a lot of places now are putting just very polite notices, be kind to our staff. They're here to serve you, And I think there is some impact. There's somebody who told me, especially I think it was in hospitals where they were getting a lot of abuse, the nurses were getting a lot of abuse. So now many hospitals, you'll notice, will say, welcome to X and XYZ hospital, our nurses are here to serve you, please be kind to them, And at first I was like, does that work? And somebody said, yes, it does. Because a lot of times people are coming in with, their issues, and they're not really seeing the person as a human being. They're just saying, this is a place for me to dump everything that I've been through. So I'm also encouraging a lot of organizations to have just some polite thing that says, welcome, be nice, not, don't be rude or whatever, but just be nice and let them know, we're glad to see you here. We are happy to serve you. Please just extend some courtesy to our staff. If you need anything, please just call one of our staff. They'll be happy to help. And that's one way that you can reach customers, because having a workshop for your 300 customers may just not be possible.
Absolutely. And I think I love that. And the organization, it's something they should, strive to adopt, because you are just... Okay, organizations, of course, I know they are out for business, so they are mostly customer-centric. So they're just putting placards on customers, blah, 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 this is what we do. But there's nothing to show, this is what you should do to us as well. So I think that is something nice that the organizations can adopt as well. So I love that, and I hope our audience who are watching, it's something you can adopt also to protect the person on this other side. Wow. And I'm seeing it more and more now. I'd like to see more of it in more places, but I have seen it in a couple of places. And every time I see it, I smile. It has also made me smile. Also being in customer experience, I'm like, that is nice. I know we are coming to the close of our first, session of this podcast. But before we close it, I would like us to talk to customer, officers who are in the call center. These are the officers that are not directly, seeing face to face with the customer, and the customer will totally or entirely depend on their tone and how they're answering. And sometimes you have customers who are really not kind. They can call you anything, despite warning them this call is being recorded for what do you say? This call is being recorded for
training purposes, and for quality control.
Exactly, for quality control. But the customers still won't care. They will still call you everything and anything. But that's not said we still have very kind customers.
Yeah.
But I want you to talk to us in such a situation. How is the customer experience staff supposed to handle themselves in this scenario?
Yes, wow, I like that question. Yeah, because there's something about customers hiding behind the phone that makes them feel like they suddenly have power over you and they can call you whatever they want, which is not right, So for the customer, the person serving the customer, I say just hold your cool. I talk about the BTW, the body language, the tone of voice, and the words. Those ones should show nothing but kindness and to show the customer I'm happy to help. Now, the customer is the one who's coming in, right? You've done everything, and this customer is still getting abusive. I've worked at a call center as well, and the good thing about call centers is that the calls are recorded. So someone in HR will know that you did your best. You've told them, Mr. Customer, I am here to help you, so please allow me to help you. I really, really want to help you get this resolved as quickly as possible. If you've told the customer the first time, the second time, and the third time, we used to be told it's okay to hang up on the customer. Let them know, Mr. Customer, I have called you out on you calling me ABC, so this time I'm going to have to hang up on this call. And you hang up. And if HR listened to the calls and they could tell this person is getting abusive, you've done everything. You've told them you want to help them. You've given them the way forward. They're still not listening. They're being unreasonable. We used to be told when it reaches to that point, that's no longer a customer. That's a security threat. Because now they're abusive, they're abusing you. Security threat is not only the time you come and punch me, you're punching me on the inside. So we were supported, and after 3 times, you were allowed to say, Mr. Customer, I'm hanging up on this call. And you were allowed to hang up. But of course, don't just, Mr. Customer, you're in a bad mood, I'm hanging up. You've at least done your best. If they've crossed the line, your dignity matters. We have to protect our staff and their dignity. So that's the time you say, Mr. Customer, I'm going to hang up on this call. And again, you've told them it's recorded. Go and tell your manager, I had a call at 11:30. I took all the steps in the book, but still I did not manage to calm the customer. He was still very abusive. When I worked in a call center, there's actually a customer that was told, sorry, chukua mizigo, leave. We cannot continue to serve you, because 3 people complained about that customer. And every time, the staff did everything. So this person clearly was those people who hide behind the screen, and they were getting abusive. And the company was like, why should our staff be threatened every time, or every time you answer and you hear his voice, you start to shake? No, your dignity matters. So again, support from the top. Support from the top, where your manager tells you, yes, Phancy, I did listen to the call, and you're right. You did everything by the book. So by the time you hang up, this customer was no longer a customer. This was a security threat. Wow. And also face-to-face as well. We have to protect our staff. You've heard of people being punched by an angry customer. So do you get punched and you continue to smile? No, you have to tell them that is not right. Again, they've crossed the line. They're not a customer. You're a customer service agent, but they're now a security threat. We actually used to be told, step back, call security. Because you're not trained in security, how to disarm him if he starts to get physical with you. So we were allowed to step back and call security. That's no longer a customer, that's a security threat. Let the right people deal with him.
All right.
Yeah.
Now we are coming to the close of this episode. But then before we close, I would like you to give us a parting shot, on whatever we have talked. 3 things that you would want our customer experience officers not to forget, even if they don't remember everything else that we have talked. 3 things that you want our frontline officers not to forget when dealing with customers, and also when dealing with themselves.
Yeah.
As they close to this.
Yes. Number one, I would say you cannot pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
So take care of you. Take care of you first so you can be able to take care of others. You know what they say when you fly on an airline? First, put on your seatbelt before you put on that of even your children. Put on your mask first before you take care of anybody else. So take this into the workplace. I need to take care of me. That's number one. Number two, I always say customers never forget how you made them feel. Maybe you have a favorite bamamboga you keep going to. And she may not have the fanciest kibanda, but maybe there's something that makes you go there all the time. Because from the time they see you, you feel, yes, this is not just a transaction. This is not just a transaction. They're treating you like a human being.
It's a therapy.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, talking of therapy, I was actually reading something that said that saloonists are actually now being given courses on how to listen to, to their staff. Because sometimes you're doing the nails and then they start to open up, So yeah, so sometimes you're that person's therapist without knowing.
Yeah, sure.
And then number 4. This is for organizations. Please humanize the culture in the organization. It has to be human-centered. I do know that we need to make money, but tomorrow, if all these people are too stressed, they will end up in business. Exactly. So have that embedded into the culture. Make it know that this is a safe space to come and say, you know what, I'm getting a bit overwhelmed. And then you sit down on the table. I always say everything has a middle ground where you can talk and say, so where's the middle ground in this? What do we need to do as we keep the business running?
Wow,
yeah.
I love that.
Thank
and
you.
To our audience, I hope you have been able to listen and to pick the very important insights that we've been given by Coach Hannah. We'll be coming in with our second episode, but before that, I hope you have been able to learn, to unlearn, and also to relearn, and especially to those customer staff that are in the front line dealing with our customers. Until the next episode, bye-bye.